In chapter 18, you write, "We find our truth by leaving the family, not by staying glued to it." And you were clearly, you were taking a journey geographically far away from home. And that's how we learn to breathe on our own, you write. And yet, Deborah's Lebanese cousins who you met, they find their sense of belonging within the family. It's like their respirator, it's what keeps them alive, it's what makes them breathe. So, there seems to be a certain contradiction there. Do you still believe that you need to leave the family to find yourself? Or can you now find yourself within family?
Well, the fact that, Deborah and I have 4 children and 17 grandchildren, and we spend almost all of our free time surrounded with our, family, is a far cry from the 2 orphans that left America in 1980. It's crazy, crazy how life just takes, turns that you never would expect. But back then, okay, it's very interesting. When I first met Deborah, she literally thought I was an orphan. My mother died when I was quite young, but I was very disconnected from my family. I prized being very independent. And, I guess it's part of the American ethos of, the rugged individual and, Lone Ranger, rides into the town, saves the day and rides out, right? There's something about the solo spiritual pursuit that was very romantic in my mind. And I think Deborah was pretty similar in that respect. She also came from a family that had many issues, some of which I write about in the book. And she had to get away. And when she was 16, she was an exchange student in Sweden. And then when she was at Wellesley College, she went to study at the Sorbonne in Paris and was there for a year. And then as soon as she graduated from Wellesley, she moved to Europe. We were always leaving home. There was something about, in our deepest sense of self, that we had to leave in order to find ourselves, okay? So I also think that's a very sort of American trait as well. It felt so different because in the Lebanese family in Kabul, yes, there was no opportunity. It's it's a bit of a upper middle class kind of luxury to be able to pursue your individual goals and dreams. They lived in a state of survival. It was a very, very different reality. They needed one another. They needed that sense of belonging. It was dangerous to be on your own. Now I would say there's some combination of both. I love the security of my family. I love the connections in my family. I love the care and love and fun and all of this. I really feel like, everyone feels like they are part of something larger than themselves. But everyone's an individual, and I think that Deborah and I did one very good thing as parents, is that I think we trained our children to be individuals, and we trained our children to take responsibility for themselves. So I don't think it's either or anymore. It's both.
Right.
It's both. We're part of a collective, and at the same token, we have a fingerprint that is absolutely unique.